Welcome to online video lecture for the subject high voltage DC transmission. This is the second part of the origin of over voltages in HVDC system. So in the previous class, we have seen the this complex waveform. What are the causes of over voltages in the HVDC system? Okay, so these are the objectives of this. I mean, so in this category, we are going to discuss the over voltages. So excited by disturbances on the DC side, over voltage excited by disturbances on the AC side, the fast transients produced at the converter itself, and the last case is fast transients of external origin. So external origin in the sense here we have considered the lightning or switching type surges. Okay, next, so these are the I would like to have a glance on this over voltage excited by disturbances on the DC side. So next, harmonic over voltages excited by AC disturbances. So and over voltages owing to the converter disturbances itself. Next, fast transients generated on the DC system. So in that we have considered the lightning surges and the switching type surges, right? So up to here we have seen there. From here I would like to start this session. So that is fast transients generated on the DC system. Okay, so I would like to start with the switching type surges. So owing to the capacitive and inductive coupling between the conductors, earth faults on one pole give rise to surges on the healthy pole, similar to those caused by switching. So here, owing to the capacitive and inductive coupling in the sense, so here you can see the figure there. We have placed the smoothing reactors and of course the surge inductance, surge capacitance. I mean, in order to avoid these surges, we have placed the surge impedance, which consists of these reactors and the capacitors there. So that is nothing but the combination of these reactors and capacitors in the line. If any fault occurs in one pole, okay, of course the pole may be in under healthy operation there. If with respect to the earth fault, if fault is occurred in the line, it is going to be initiated to the healthy pole also. Okay, suppose if you are operating in one pole, in the sense that is either positive pole or negative pole or both. Okay, of course if we consider the bipolar system. Okay, so even the healthy pole also, it is going to be disturbed there. Okay, it is also traveling there. Next, for the analysis of surge transfers to the converter side, the stray inductance of the surge capacitor and the shunt capacitance of the smoothing reactor can be neglected. So here, no need to confuse here. The surge transfers to the converter side, the stray inductance of the surge capacitor. So look at this figure there. The stray inductance, this is nothing but the stray inductance, that is it is of adjustable type. Okay, so it comes under some sort of a tuning. Okay, so this is the stray inductance, and for this we have connected a capacitor, and this is about the shunt capacitance of the smoothing reactor. So this is the shunt capacitance connected to the smoothing reactor. So I think we are well known that what is the purpose of the smoothing reactor, to smoothen the rippled current, so because of the rectifier action. Okay, so can be neglected because of the small time constants. Okay, suppose if there arise any switching surges in the DC line, so even this surge impedance cannot what I can say cannot bias the surges completely because of its time constants. Of course, based upon the analysis of the surge, we can select the impedance value, and accordingly it will come into action there. Okay, so basically here we have not analyzed for the switching type search. Okay, so we prefer for a lightning strikes or lightning strokes likewise. Okay, so considering those things, we are going to inject the surge impedance. Okay, next, so transient network analyzer test indicates that the peak can reach up to 1.8 depending on the line distance and termination. So this is nothing but a analyzer test, in the sense it may be a power quality analyzers. I mean the kits, the hardware kits, or some other theoretical analysis or any other equipment which are used to analyze the fault level. Okay, so it is a generalized meaning. Okay, indicate that the peak can reach up to 1.8 per unit there. So basically, the reference voltage is 1.0 per unit. So that is a well-known fact. So under this test, when they have performed, it has reached up to 1.8 per unit. Okay, so that depends upon the line distance and termination. Okay, next, for a converter in its normal conducting mode, the distribution of the switching surge is governed by the amount of inductance existing between the points concerned and the ground. So suppose the converter is working under normal operating mode. So the distribution of switching surge, say suppose any switches surges have occurred there. So it is going to be distributed through this impedance. So before going to the, so this is the converter station there. So after this, okay. So if any switching surge appears in the line, so it is going not going to enter into the thyristor valves. Okay, so meanwhile we need to eliminate that. So that can be helped. That can be avoided with the help of the reactants, which the reactor which we are choosing. Okay, and of course this reactor is also connected to the ground. Okay, so to avoid these type of surges, so we can eliminate there itself instead of reaching the converter station. Next, the voltage across both the upper and lower bridges are mainly determined by the voltage drops across the conducting phases of the transformer belonging to the bridge in question. Okay, so the upper and lower bridges in the sense that is for the switches which are conducting for the positive half cycle, that is 135. If we consider a 6 pulse unit, the next is about the lower bridges, that is 462. Okay, so that will be conducting for the negative half cycles. By this, it creates a positive conductor. It gives to the positive conductor and negative conductor. Okay, so here they are going to measure the individual phase voltage. So let us consider here between the two phases, or we can consider this diagram. See, between the two phases, this is a 6 pulse unit. Let us consider this is a 6 pulse. Between the two phases, they are going to measure the voltage. Okay, right. Next, switching surges of long duration and high energy content can cause current levels of sufficient magnitude to produce current extinction. So if suppose these switches are existing, okay, so for a long period it is occurring there, and a high energy content can cause current levels of sufficient magnitudes to produce current extinction. So basically, after rectification, so the current is traveling through the inverter there. So it is entering into the inverter station. So this current may gets it's get involved with the this type of surges. So it accepts the surges, even though if it is unable to, if we are unable to eliminate these surges, so it is going to enter into the current waveform there. Okay, so and it causes some disturbances in the line. Here from this figure we can see there. So UB, see from this figure, UB, UC, UD are the individual phase voltage. Let us consider between the two thyristor valves, these voltages are appear. So these are the oscillations in the line. Okay, between the two phases. Next, another phase. Next for the another phase. So voltage to ground from the DC bus bars. Next, look at the UL. So what is UL there? Voltage to ground on the DC line. So this is the actual average DC output voltage of the line. Okay, so it is going to be reduced there. So that is a overall, the final action of the DC transmission there. So if we continue with these surges, so what happens in the sense? So overall we can not maintain the constant voltage in the DC line. So these type of oscillations can be applied in the input side. That is the inverter input. Okay, so look at point A. So this is the area A, inductive voltage distribution between the bridges, and the capacitive voltage distribution between the bridges. Since we are connected with a surge impedance there, so this also leads to additional oscillation in the this DC transmission. Okay, so the purpose of placing the surge impedance is in order to avoid these surges. Okay, but by placing the additional components there, it also leads to some additional oscillations in the line. Of course, we need to use that. Next, since the inductance of the smoothing reactor is much larger than that of the converter transformer leakage, the incoming surge has little effect on the bridge valves while the valves are conducting. See, of course, we know that the smoothing reactor, which has the high reactance when compared with the converter transformer leakage reactance. So, if even though if the surges are appeared, so to maximum extent, this smoothing reactor can eliminate these surges. Okay. So next, however, when the incoming surge extinguishes the valve current, the station side of the smoothing reactor is connected to the earth through the valve grading, damping circuits, and stray capacitance only. So that is, this causes an overswing of higher value than the incoming surge. So this indicates that, so even though if suppose it is entering into the line and the smoothing reactor is not able to mitigate these surges, so and the smoothing reactor is connected to the ground there. Okay, of course it also has additionally the damping circuits and the stray capacitances. So here you can see the figure. See, so to the here we can see the smoothing reactor, and that smoothing reactor is connected to the I mean, it is properly earthed there. Okay, so along with the smoothing reactor, we can see the shunt connected capacitance and the damping circuits. Of course, the DC filters also they can incorporate. So in order to avoid these surges, suppose if it is allowed, what happens means there may be chance of overswings of higher value than the incoming surge. Okay, so that is the situation. Right. Next, this look at this figure. This figure shows the over voltage distribution of three bridges and the top transformer connections. So whatever the points we have discussed earlier, everything, so we can see the pictorial representation here. So converter transformer, which is covered with the some additional impedances we have created there to avoid these surges, switching surges. And of course these converter transformers will have the leakage reactance, and after this we can see the converter unit. Okay, so this is considered one unit, so three series connected bridges there. Okay, so that, let us consider as group 1, group 2, and group 3. So for this, after this there will be a smoothing reactor, and these smoothing reactors, there exists additional damper circuits and the additional filters will be there. So by crossing all these, it cannot enter into the inverter station. So that is the scenario there. Okay. Next, it is worth pointing out that over voltages are often the result of certain sequences of events occurring in practice. So caution must therefore be used in using purely speculative theoretical studies with possibly incorrect assumptions. So what does it mean? So so over voltages are often the result of certain sequences of events occurring in practice. So if we continue with the over voltages, so there may be a chance of the sequence in the sense it leads to some, negative sequence components. Okay, so of course zero cannot be appeared there. So there may be a possibility of positive and zero negative sequence components which should not appear in the AC side. So before rectification, so it leads to asymmetrical in the valve conduction there. So that is the case. Next, let us discuss the surges generated on the AC system. Okay. Next, switching surges generated in the AC side. So one second. Right. Next, we'll enter into the surges generated on the AC system. So switching surges generated in the AC side are inductively transferred to the valve side via the transformer. So we know that the converter transformer are connected before the converter unit, that is a rectifier station or inverter station, but the both ends we are using the converter transformers. If the switching surges are generated in the AC side, so it is going to be transferred to the valve side. Valve side in the sense the converter unit, it is going to be transferred with the help of the same transformer which are directly connected to the converter unit. That means with the help of the secondary units which are connected to the converter. So it leads to it leads to some path. Okay. Next, since the valve group voltage only consists of face-to-face components, the zero sequence is not included in the converter voltage. See, let us see, because of these switch surges, so there may be chance of over voltages. Okay, so if you are not able to mitigate these surges, so it leads to over voltages. Okay, so over voltage in the sense it is not about that sudden rise of to maximum extent. So it is nothing but a what I can say. In the previous class, we have seen that. So let us see. See, this is the case there. So it leads to a distorted waveform. Even after the fault recovered, it leads to some distortions in the waveform. Okay. So one second. See, okay. Let us see. Okay. Right. So it is not available. Okay. It exists for a short period of time, and it is what I can say. It's nothing but a small transient period. Okay. So it should not happen there. So it may be 1.8 per unit, may exceed 2.2 per unit or 2 per unit likewise. So for a short period, there may be chance of this issue may occur. Okay. So that is nothing but over voltage there. Okay. A small transient period exists and the magnitude rises. Okay. So if you allow these surges, okay. Next, since the valve group voltage only consists of phase-to-phase components, so phase-to-phase components in the sense we know that in order to conduct the bridge, so minimum number of switches to be turned on is 2. Okay, so let us, that is T1, T2 or T2, T3. Let us consider a 2 valve conduction there. So minimum number of switches to be turned on is 2. Okay, so that is this situation here. That is phase-to-phase components. Okay, so that is the meaning of this. So the minimum number of switches turned on is 2. So obviously there exists the minimum phase-to-phase components. So if this fault occurs, what happens means there may be chance of the either negative sequence components or positive sequence components, and then there is no availability of the zero sequence. I think we know about the sequence of the components, that is in phase, I mean change of the angle, that's RYB phase. So likewise, okay. So that this case is not happening in case of this HVDC. Okay. Next, a single phase superimposed surge is transferred to the valve side in different ways in the star to star and the star to delta connected transformers of a two series connected valve group. The total peak voltage across the group being given by. So this is the equation. So it states that suppose if this surge is superimposed in the valve side. Okay, so if it is of star to star connected or delta to star connected or star to delta connected, so it appears in the converter transformer, right? So we know that star to star connection, why we go for star to delta connection now to eliminate the lower order harmonics, especially the third order harmonics. Okay, so if we consider between the voltage of between two phases, that is phase to phase, the voltage equation is V equal to n into Vm root 2 into root of 2 plus root 3 plus V naught plus 2 into V naught by root 3. So this is the equation already taken from the reference papers. It is cited there. So directly we have considered this equation. So where n is the transformer turns ratio. So that is a star to star connection. Okay. Next, Vm is the maximum permissible steady state operating phase voltage. So that should be our maximum. Since of course if we consider a particular phase Vm sin omega t, so where Vm is the maximum permissible voltage there, and V naught is the peak value of the superimposed switching surge. So of course Vm should be suppose let us consider a sinusoidal which is of maximum voltage is Vm. If this surge is allowed, so this voltage may rise. It may be 1.2 as I said you before, that is 1.2 or 1.4 or 1.5. That may be to certain extent, depends upon the duration of the surge. Okay, so that is termed as V naught. Okay, the peak value of superimposed. So beyond it, beyond this Vm, it exceeds. Okay, so that is V naught here. So based on this equation, they are going to observe the voltage between two valves. Okay, that is the phase-to-phase voltage we can monitor. Next, right. So the converter stations and the transmission lines in their vicinity are normally shielded to prevent direct lightning strokes. So the converter stations and the transmission lines in their which are nearby normally protects from these lightning strokes. How they are going to protect and all we'll see first of all. Strokes distant from the converter station are attenuated by the time they reach the converter station. So before entering of these lightning stroke or switching surges, entering into the converter station, they are stopped before reaching it the converter unit. Okay, so of course by using these surge impedance loading. Either we can attenuate at the converter transformers before entering into the converter unit, or we may use the counters. Okay, surge arresters we are going to use as seen in the power systems. They are going to use the counters. Okay, when any surges happen there. So obviously we are not making it to enter into the converter station or the DC line. Okay, so thereby itself we are going to stop there. Next, moreover, the steep front over voltages generated during lightning are subjected to a considerable front prolongation due to the capacitive termination. So steep front waveform in the sense it is of a continuous distorted waveform there. So steep in the sense it is going to rise straightly. Okay, so this type of waveform, so that is happened because of these surges. Okay, leads to over voltages generated during lightning. Okay, and it will be considerable front prolongation due to the capacitive termination. Okay, so since we are using the see here, so since we are using the capacitors before the converter unit and after the converter unit, so to a certain extent we can limit these surges. I mean these over voltages which are caused because of these surges. Okay, so that is the meaning of that. Next, the tuned. Next, the tuned AC filters and the capacitor banks have considerable damping effect on the incoming wave. That is the most of the filter damping is due to high pass branch. So we know that the tuning of filters. So fourth unit we have discussed that tuning of filters, single tuned or double tuned. So high pass C type. So likewise. So these filters along with the mechanically switched or static capacitor banks. So which leads to uh, it attenuates these surges. Okay. So it creates the damping effect of the incoming wave, which is of distorted one. Okay, so that is the case here. So high pass branch in the sense, as we are well known that in order to eliminate the other than the 3 and 5 harmonics, that is the 7 11 likewise. So these higher orders can be eliminated with the help of these filters. Okay, right. So tuning in the sense according to the frequency of the signals, that is the harmonic signals, accordingly these filters get uh, tuning there. So that is the stray inductance and the stray capacitance. So that is the meaning of that. Next, at low load, however, a number of capacitor banks may be disconnected, but the maximum probable over voltage factor is not likely to exceed 2.2 per unit. Okay, so under any low load conditions, low load in the sense, I suppose if we are performing any uh, blocking or unblocking state or de-energizing or any fault situation. Okay, so in that case, a number of capacitor banks may be disconnected, but the maximum probable over voltage factor is not likely to exceed 2.2. Okay, so why in the sense, if you are going to reduce the, if any fault occurs there, so obviously the voltage levels goes below the reference value. Okay, so at this situation, if there may be a chance of these overshoots. Okay, so even though it can exceed up to 2.2, so it will not cause much effect on the system, because in no load the voltage will be very high there. Okay, so it may exceed up to twice of the input voltage, that is a 2.2 per unit. Okay, so that is actual situation, it will happen, but it is nothing to worry about this. Next, lightning surges in the AC system can be transferred to the DC side via the transformer, both electrostatically and electromagnetically. So electrostatically, how it appears is because of the capacitors, and electromagnetically in the sense because of the inductor. Okay, so these surges which are happened in the AC can be transferred to the DC along with this transformer and the components which we are using, that is the surge impedances or any stumper circuits or anything else. So whatever the components which we are preferring there, so it may also leads to transfer of these surges from AC to DC. Next, generally the electrostatic transfer can be neglected since only waves with a steep front are transferred via the stray capacitance. So the electrostatic in a sense because of the capacitors. Okay, so these the major contribution of the avoiding the over voltage means because of the capacitors. So we know the property of the capacitors there. It can avoid the it has the property of sudden change of over voltage. I mean sudden change of voltage there. So this come into action. So because of this capacitor, okay, stray capacitance in the sense. So according to the surges, the reactance may be at varied. Okay, next. When the operating voltage in the AC system side of the converter transformer is much higher than the corresponding voltage on the DC side, the capacitive transformation may be of importance. For transformation ratios larger than 4, the capacitively transferred components is larger than the electromagnetic. So here it indicates that if suppose if you have gone for the instead of 1:1, have gone for the one larger than 4, 1:4 ratio. That is a star to star connected ratio. We have preferred 1:4 there. So what happens means these surges can be avoided. So how means look at this point there. For capacitively transferred component is larger than the electromagnetic. So electromagnetic in the sense the smoothing reactor. Okay, so I mean instead of reaching the smoothing reactor by the converter transformer end itself, we can eliminate these surges. So by preferring the high transformation ratio there. Okay, so that is the situation. See, let us consider a small example here. If any surges appear, let us consider the capacitance we have preferred is 1000 picofarads. Then this is the waveform there. First one. Next, if we consider 2500 picofarads, and if we consider 5000 picofarad, so first it is meeting the capacitor. These surges are going to meet the capacitor. So what happens in the capacitor? It is going to store the all the energy. Okay. So later on, what it happens when it reaches to its maximum extent, it starts releasing the energy there. Okay. So here you can see the voltage increase after 60 microseconds is seen to be depending upon the electromagnetic transfer. From after 60 microseconds, it starts releasing the energy. So that means this sudden rise can be avoided with the help of the capacitors which are connected to the valve side. Okay, so this is one of the best example here. So here we can see the one is the referred value 1.0 per unit, but it has been exceeded up to 2 per unit. Okay, so but our system is protected there by using these capacitors. So this is the best example. Next we will enter into the fast transient phenomena associated with the converter plant. Okay, comprehensive computer programs are required to assess the internal distribution of transient voltage stress within the converter upon the arrival of surges of either internal or external origin. The computer programs are required to assess in the sense we need to monitor the individual phase voltages. I mean each valve, what is the voltage drop and what are the losses. I mean we are using the protective devices for each valve. Okay, so that's the case. So all these are transient voltage stresses because stress in the sense each switch is operating under high operating voltage. If these type of surges are allowed in the switch in the line, so it is going to be aided with these voltages which are under stress. Stress in the sense if suppose the switch is in the blocking state. Okay, so it is operating under high operating voltages. Okay, so if it is under no load, I mean off condition, so a lot of stress will be on the switch. If these surges will be added to that, so it leads to additional losses in the switches. So this should not impact on the and they should not reflect on the DC line. Okay, so during the rectification process, it should not affect on the system. So either internally or external origin. So whatever may be the cause, either the from disturbances from the DC side, or either disturbances from the AC side, anything. Okay, so or maybe internal faults or something. Okay, so we need to continuously monitor that. So next, the physical behavior and circuit configuration of thyristor and mercury arc converters are different in this respect and are thus considered separately. So here there are two cases. If we use a thyristors in the converter unit and if we use a mercury arc valves, so these two are the earlier traditional methods we are using. Of course we have completely gone I mean depending upon these thyristors, so they have given a small comparison. If we go for a mercury arc converters, so mercury arc in the sense they are using the switches are of mercury type. I mean, they use this liquid for the conducting of the switches, the mercury quantity. Okay, so this is one setup. I mean, one configuration there. So this is for each switch. You can see the number of protecting components there. So you look at here. So for each switch, they are using the additional capacitance. I mean, surge capacitance, surge inductance. So everything, everyone are grounded there. So in order to protect from the faults. Okay, so look at this. This is the converter transformer secondary winding. So one is the star connected, another is the delta connected. So each phase are again they have connected the capacitors between the two phases, and each individual phases are grounded. So you can see the number of capacitors. See, this will avoid the surges. Okay, the switching surges or any internal faults and all. With the help of these capacitors, we can protect the mercury arc valves. Okay, so this is the main function here. And for each individual switch, they are going to connect another snubber circuits. Okay, or it may be treated as a heat sinks. So each individual phase are going to be monitored there. Okay, so this is the schematic of the mercury arc converters. Here this is the DC side. Okay, from the DC side also you can see the capacitance which are LC combination there. Okay, so stray inductance, this is nothing but the stray inductance. So for the smoothing reactor, additionally shunt capacitor is connected. So all these are the main function is to avoid the surges. Okay, it acts as a protecting equipment for the converter unit. Okay, right. Next, there exist some cases here. We'll see one by one. With reference to the general model of a 12 pulse mercury arc converters suitable for a fast transient studies, which is shown here. So this is the 12 pulse converter unit, mercury arc converter. We have preferred a mercury arc converters. Okay. Next, the following criteria apply to the energy storing elements during the operating conditions. So under these operating conditions, so these energy storing elements in the sense whatever the capacitors and inductors which you are using for these switches. Okay, so what are the operating conditions? We'll be seeing one by one. The anode to cathode self capacitance is only effective when the valve is not conducting. So anode to cathode self capacitance. Anode to cathode in the sense, so basically we know that what are the terminals of the switch: anode, cathode, and gate. So if the switch is not closed, it acts as it is in off condition. So there it acts as a self capacitance. Okay. So the self capacitance of transformer windings is only effective in the idle phase, and the cathode to neutral capacitance is effective at the start and end of every commutation. So what does it mean? So let us consider the see. Let us see this diagram. Okay, so this is the anode part, and this is the cathode one. So right. So this is a gate terminal. Okay, for this cathode, they have connected to the ground terminal. Okay, so cathode to neutral. Capacitance is effective at the start and end of every commutation. So during the turn off process or during the turn on process, okay, so I mean before coming into the on condition, it acts as a capacitor. Okay, so every switch and every component which we are using there, suppose let us consider a capacitor and consider these switches. Okay, before going to turn on, so all these devices acts as a capacitors so that these surges can be avoided there. Okay, next, the capacitor, damping circuit, and anode reactor associated with the valve exist or disappear according to the three different states. Okay, so the capacitors, so which we are using there, and damping circuit. So damping circuits in the sense, so it is nothing but a filter circuits. Okay, and the anode reactors, so that it is nothing but the smoothing reactors. Oh, okay, or any other inductance which are connected to these switches will conduct or disappear based upon these three conditions. First one is conducting. Well, all the switches are conducting, so all these elements, whatever the components which were preferred, that is inductor and capacitors, they are short circuited. Okay. Next, starting condition. All of them exist. So before the turning of the switch, so all of them exist. Next, stopping condition. Only the anode reactor disappears. So these are the three cases. Okay. Next and the last concept is the thyristor converters. So the which we are using right now. So the modeling of transient phenomena in thyristor converters must take into account the thyristor non-linearities such as recovered charge, leakage, and displacement current phenomena associated with the various thyristor operating states and the diversity which exists in those properties between the individual thyristors of the valve structure. See, of course, in the converter unit, we are preferring the same thyristors. Okay, the characteristics of the each thyristor may be same, but when coming into the operating condition, these performance characteristics may differ. Okay, so based upon this, recovered charge, leakage, and displacement current phenomenon. So the current path and all, and the current losses, individual switching losses, and the heat sinks and all. So these performance may differ. Okay, so we need to assess that. Okay, so that is the meaning of this one. Next, these characteristics interact in a complex manner with other converter components such as saturating inductors, transformers, damping and grading circuits, stray capacitances, and inductance of the valves, bus bars, transformer windings, etc. See, because of this, it is going to be interacted with the other components. What are those? So these are the components, that is the inductors, transformers, the filter circuits, and the grading circuits, stray capacitor. So all the components which we are using in the HVDC system, so it is going to be reflected on these components. So what is going to reflect means this individual response of the switches, the thyristors which we are preferring in the converter unit, if it has a different characteristics. Okay, so it is going to be reflected on the components which were connected for this HVDC. So that is the meaning of that. Next, computer simulation is used to assess the internal distribution of the transient voltage stresses and other related information such as cascade turn on, over voltage limitation, protection and coordination, valve recovery at turn off, voltage unbalance along a series connected string of thyristors and transient over voltage disturbances. See, so we need to simulate that. So why we need to simulate in the sense we need to monitor the phase-to-phase voltages between the two valves. What should be the voltage and what is the actual voltage and what is the disturbance there. And individual switch we need to assess the what are the switching losses and how the switch is going to responded and what are the ripple factor there. So how much of surges are entering into the switch and what are the voltage stress in across the switches and all. You need to have a proper assessment through this computer simulation. Okay, so as we are well known that um, in the control room they are going to see all these individual records and all. They are going to observe through this any other, I mean a SCADA or some other source. They are going, with the help of this technology, they are going to uh, simulate all those things. Okay, next, if we in a valve equipped with independent over voltage firing at each voltage level, a component failure causes one level in the valve to rely on this protection for triggering. Abnormal voltage excursions and inrush currents in excess of the normal will be imposed on the affected level. Suppose if in a valve equipped with independent over voltage firing, suppose we have triggered, I mean we have made a valve to conduct, which is consists of these over voltages. So what happens means a component failure causes one level in the valve to rely on this protection for triggering abnormal voltage excursion and inrush. Okay, so if it is failed, I mean with this over voltage we are going to inject with the other switch. What happens means it will affect on the entire switches which are running under normal operating conditions. So this leads to voltage excursions and inrush of currents in the excess of normal will be imposed on the afflicted level. So this is going to be injected to the other components also. So that is the case there. So finally, this is since this operating regime can persist repetitively until the next scheduled maintenance, if it is of crucial importance to valve component rating. So for this, we need to just continuously assess the each individual switch performance there, and we need to assess at each and every stations and individual responses of these. This HVDC components. So that is the only solution for that. So we are going to rely on that. So this is the thyristor unit, so simplified equivalent circuit for cascaded turn-on investigations. So investigations in the sense, of course, we are going to observe the in the power electronics laboratory what is the thyristor voltage drop and what about the gate pulses. So what is there any distortion in the gate pulses? So likewise, similar to the HVDC station, they are going to assess at each and every station. So for example, there we are going for the valve grouping, right? So in that valve grouping, they are going to assess each and every. So previously we have discussed the voltage levels likewise. Okay. So what is the individual phase voltages? What is the phase-to-phase voltages and all? They are going to observe them. So look at here, over voltage firing circuit. This is the over voltage firing circuit. So if any over voltage appears in the thyristor switches, there they are going to take some certain measures with the help of additional protecting circuit. So that is the over voltage firing circuit, which is similar to our as a 3-point starter. There we can see the overload release coil and the no load release coil. If any situation arises, obviously the machine can be protected there. In the similar fashion, here also for these thyristor units, there will be some firing circuits which can be prevented from these over voltages. Okay, so this is the simplified external circuit. So that's about the over voltages in the HVDC converter stations. So hope you have understood this session. So thank you.